Okay, so the next thing we have to do is correct the color of our creature so that it feels like it's getting the same kind of lighting and color cast as the background. And if we look at this, just we're going to use the computer to help us kind of dial this in, but just with our eyes, you can see the background is more blues and greens, whereas the deer is more yellows and reds, and we need to kind of pull the colors more into this space. So what we're going to do to be very methodical about this is we're going to create some samples. And the samples we're going to get are going to be from the highlights of both the deer and the background, the midtones of the background and the deer, and the shadows. And the shadows like kind of where the deer would be kind of in depth, right? If we look at the foreground, the shadows are a lot darker than they are in the back because of the mist, and that white mist is kind of like making everything a little more gray. So, all right, so let's start with the highlights. So we'll do highlight from our background and then a highlight on our critter. Then midtone, let's say midtone for our background, midtone for our critter, and then shadow for our background, shadow for our critter. So they'll each be side by side. All right. Okay, so looking at this here, we can see that in our reference, there's a lot less red. The green is about the same, and there's a lot more blue, right? You can just see it with the numbers here. Okay, so let's do that first. So to do this, we're going to do a adjustment levels. And what this is this is a map of all the values from black to white in the image. It's called a histogram. By default, it shows us all the red, green, and blue together, but we can look at each component of the color independently. So let's do that. Let's say the red. There's too much red, so I'm going to take this, which is right now the red is being output all the way to black and all the way to white, and I'm going to suck a little of the intensity out of it. Oh, okay. So right now, when I'm doing this, it's affecting both the critter and our reference background. That's not what we want. So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to put this levels in our stack here, and we're going to change this from pass through to normal. And then that way, whatever I do over here won't affect the rest of the image. See, now I can just do it over here, and it doesn't affect the other stuff. I mean, see what a different, just that, how much more integrated it feels. Let's do green's pretty good. Let's do the blue. So the blue we actually want more. So for that, I'm going to pull this in, pull the white point in a bit. And I'm just using the numbers as a reference. All right, so then let's do the shadows next. So in the shadows, they're a little bit more, a little brighter than they are over here. So let's grab So the blue, get a little brighter. Green, a lot brighter. And the red, significantly brighter. Okay. Looking a lot better. And then the midtone. So this is the middle gray value. So the midtones, there's a lot less red. So a lot less red. You know, you got to use your eyes too if it's looking a little weird. It's only like so far we can bring it. And then the green. Let's go back. And we can go over here, just kind of dial in just the contrast a little bit. Brighter, a little darker. That's looking, you know, and maybe it's more in shadow. That's looking a lot better. Alrighty. Okay, so when I look at this and I zoom in, I see there's a lot more fidelity in the deer than there is in the background. So in the olden days, what you would do is you would blur this deer to match the background. But now there's ways of kind of enhancing the photos using machine learning. So to do that, you got to open Adobe Bridge. And then I'm going to find our original background image. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say Open in Camera Raw. Then while I'm over here, I right click again and I say Enhance. And then I turn on Super Resolution, which doubles the resolution. And you can kind of see how it pulls a lot more detail out of this thing. And then I hit Enhance. And now, go back over here. Turn this off. Grab my new enhanced background. And then I will drag it over here. Yep. Convert to smart object. And I'll Scale it down. I will flip it around. And what I can do is I can set the blend mode to difference. And what that'll do is it'll show me, it'll help me kind of line it up. If I line it up perfectly, it should turn into pretty close to black. All right, close enough. And now if we compare, see, it's a lot sharper than it was before. We still need to blur the deer a little bit. So let's go over here. I'm gonna add filter, blur, Gaussian blur. .5. There you go. And I'll do the same with the antlers. Grab them both, filter. Right, and then it's non-destructive, so I can go over here, and if I want to blur this a little more, I can do it. All right. Okay, so like what else could we do? Now that we've got the little critter in our background, we could kind of enhance this whole thing a little bit. So now I'm going to do, now that I've matched it, now I'm going to do another adjustment layer to kind of push the contrast a little bit, brighten it up. So it's nice where the white starts kind of right where the tone kicks in. And then we'll do a little enhancement of contrast over here too. So bringing a little bit of an S curve here. A little bit more punchy. And maybe just make it more verdant. Punch the greens up a little too. Or we can take just the greens. There we go. All right.